Spinal muscular atrophy, or better known as SMA, is a neurological disorder. It affects 1 in 6,000 children and is the number one genetic killer of children under the age of 2. Now, you might wonder, well, who does it affect? It affects all age groups and it affects all racial and ethical groups. And it's very fatal. SMA weakens your muscles and it makes it really hard for when you get sick or when you get not feeling too good. When you get a cold, it can easily turn to pneumonia. You can't walk, you can't breathe very well, you can't move your muscles very well. You have to rely on other people to move you, shift you, and do anything for you. You might wonder, why do you know this? What's it important? How do you have any ability in this? Any knowledge in this? I work with a boy that has SMA, and I've worked with him for 5 years. And he's a wonderful kid, but his condition makes it hard for him to live, day-to-day life. Now, you might be, as you can tell, there's a couple kids in here that, have family that support them, and they can do anything like anybody else. But what are the types of SMA? Well, there's 4 of them. There's Werner-Hoffman disease, which is the most severe form of all. They get diagnosed within the first, 0 from birth to 6 months old. And usually they don't live past 2 years old. Then you have type 2, which is kind of intermediate form. They get diagnosed between the ages 7 months and 18 months. And they might never be able to sit, completely by themselves or walk, but they have more support of their body than those with type 1. And then we have type 3, which is a very mild form. They get diagnosed after the age of 18 months. And they'll be able to walk with the help of walkers, or they might be able to stand with, with a stand or anything like that. But it's a little harder for them, but it's still kind of mild. And the most mildest of all the 3 types, of all the forms, is the adult form. They usually get diagnosed around when they're 20, 30 years old. So it doesn't really affect them as much. They can walk, they can function perfectly fine. They don't have as many of the health issues as like type 1 or type 2. Now, what do you need to look for when you're caring for someone with SMA? Well, SMA has a lot of respiratory concerns, which is breathing concerns. They have dietary concerns or, issues with swallowing or chewing. And they need a lot of back support and a lot of spinal curvature because they have scoliosis, and they also have other forms like that. When you have respiratory concerns, what you need to physically do is know how to deal with their BPAP machines, or they need to understand how to work their nebulizers so that they can have a clear breathing way so it helps them with their breathing. When they have swallowing concerns, like when they chew and stuff, you have to make it very small, very bite-sized so that it doesn't get breathed into their airway and into their lungs, which can cause, aspiration, which is, obstruction or respiratory infection, which makes the pneumonia a lot worse. And then when you have to physically move someone from a chair or a lift-in or a stander like that, you have to hold their back and you have to support them because they don't have the muscle strength or the movement to, move on their own. They need the physical support. And you have to understand how to work their G-tubes, which is a button that's right about here, and it connects directly into their stomach. That way they get fed liquid food like formula or something like that to help them gain weight or anything of that sort. There's a boy that's usually hooked up to a trach who is reclined back to help with his body, back, and head support. Now, when you have medical concerns, you want to make sure that they go to a pulmonologist, which is a lung specialist, or a breathing specialist. They could also have a trach put in, which, as you saw in the last picture, is a hole into the airway to help them breathe. And when they have, swallowing or dietary concerns, you want to make sure they go to a gastrologist so they can gain weight, because they have 2 different ways. They can either be really light and really, like 60 pounds at 18 years old, or they can be really heavy from all the food being pumped directly into their system. It really depends. And then when they have the spine curvature, they have a rod put in their spine. It helps them kind of straighten up, or they get put into back braces that kind of like a corset that will straighten their spine rather than keep them really curved. Because there's at times when they are curved, they are literally hunched so far forward that they can't move. That's what the right rod or the back brace is there for, is to help straighten those spine. This is a young man that I work with every day, and he's a really young, wonderful young man, and he's going to give you an understanding of what it's like to live with him every day. But he does have, how do I say, he speaks very low, so it might be hard to hear or understand everything he does say.
As someone with SMA, what kind of obstacles do you face every day? Do you believe people understand what it's like to have SMA or live with it? Why? What kind of goals do you have for your future? Do you think that SMA will prevent you from achieving those goals?
As you can see, he is a wonderful young man. And what he was talking about with his concerns is that people don't understand that he needs that support. He needs help eating, moving, all the things that we all take for granted every single day. He can't do. He'll never be able to do. He's lived 17, 18 years of his life relying upon someone else. And he wants to go to college and he wants to be like everyone else. Because he deserves it. Nobody, whether they have SMA or any other sort of neurological disorder, they need to feel like they are normal. Now, you might wonder why this is important to people. Well, the fact that under the age of 2, so many people pass away. You know, there's the number one genetic killer of young children. It is a great cause to fight for and to help cure and help get better. You know, the MDA, the SMA Foundation are out there helping to get this done. And they're giving information like this out to us so that we can understand a condition that most people don't understand or don't know about. My name is Samantha Elaine Roberts, and this is my presentation on SMA. I hope you understand it. Thank you.